Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster is a Rocky Mountain Construction single rail coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. This was R.M.C's prototype Raptor, and while this coaster may only have 1,800 feet or 550 meters of track, it packs a lot of intense elements into a super compact layout. So in this video, I will review Wonder Woman and explain why this coaster delivers a more satisfying ride than coasters 2 to 3 times longer. Most coasters have a dual track design, but at the 2015 IAAPA trade show, Rocky Mountain Construction debuted 2 single rail coasters. These coasters would utilize a thick spine, which eliminated ties and allowed the coaster to span larger distances in between supports. This would allow these coasters to be erected quickly and also keep costs down. The Raptor was the smaller, more budget-friendly option. This coaster would have one of the narrowest track gauges in the world, featuring one across seating. R.M.C. envisioned this product going to small parks pressed for both budget and space. The T-Rex was the larger option, envisioned for larger parks. Utilizing the same building principles as the Raptor, R.M.C. believed this coaster could be an economical alternative to the gigacoasters produced by Balzer and Mabillard and Intamin. However, things didn't quite turn out as R.M.C. planned. The original 2 Raptors went to 2 sizable chain parks in Six Flags Fiesta Texas and California's Great America. Neither Six Flags nor Cedar Fair could resist purchasing a potentially elite ride for such an affordable rate. And Six Flags seems very happy with their purchase, as they have another new Raptor opening in 2021 in Six Flags Great Adventure's Jersey Devil Coaster, plus a heavily rumored one for Six Flags Magic Mountain next year. Meanwhile, R.M.C. seems to have shelved the T-Rex track at this time. The rumor is that it was not economically viable based on the expressed interest of parks. Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster was the first R.M.C. Raptor to open in May of 2018. The ride was originally supposed to open in March, but the prototype coaster's opening was delayed 2 months. Upon opening, Six Flags marketed the coaster as the world's first single rail coaster. But was that really true? Sure, it was R.M.C.'s first Raptor, but Mach had actually built a single rail coaster way back in the 1950s. But some of the suspended coasters produced by Kiripo and Setpoint in the late 1990s and early 2000s were also comprised of a single rail. However, Wonder Woman was far more ambitious than the previous rides, and it rekindled interest in single rail coasters. These single rail coasters look like something out of a dream. Wonder Woman looks so different than other roller coasters that it almost looks fake. The twisted mess of track looks like one continuous piece, and it's especially striking at Fiesta Texas because of the bright golden track that Wonder Woman features. While the ride sorta looks cartoonish, the ride sure does look imposing. The ride feels far taller than its official 113 foot or 34 meter height because of how thin the track and supports are. And it's impossible to miss how unnaturally fast the trains seem to glide through the layout. Combine that with the booming soundtrack from the Wonder Woman film, and you generate this epic atmosphere. In terms of theming, Wonder Woman doesn't have much. There's nothing during the ride. The ride's entrance plaza has a great statue of Wonder Woman, then the queue line features some cardboard cutouts, and most notably a Parthenon-like structure housing the switchbacks, complete with some firelit gauntlets on the side. But the best part about the queue line are the amazing views it provides of Wonder Woman, and you better be prepared to spend a lot of time in this queue line. As I mentioned earlier, the Raptor model was intended for small to medium-sized parks. Wonder Woman has an estimated hourly capacity of 600 riders per hour, which is putrid for a signature coaster at a large park like Six Flags Fiesta Texas. Wonder Woman can operate with 3 trains, and it does feature a continuously moving load platform to keep the line moving. And the crew working this ride usually loads the trains like a well-oiled machine. But there's only so much you can do when each train seats just 8 riders. Even when the ride runs 3 trains and avoids any downtime, the line still moves at a snail's pace. But if this ride runs less than 3 trains, which inevitably will happen throughout the year because Fiesta Texas is a year-round park, the line moves even slower. And Wonder Woman seems to have several small bouts of downtime throughout the day. This was the case when I visited Fiesta Texas for the ride's opening weekend in 2018, and during several of my 2020 visits. Since Wonder Woman isn't always available on the Flash Pass, I strongly recommend riding it immediately after the park opens. Since Wonder Woman is tucked in the back corner of the park, it's possible to get a few rides on it before crowds make their way back there. If you can't make it for opening, I recommend getting in line right before park close because it's not uncommon for this ride to have hour-plus waits during the peak of day. When you reach the end of the line, there is a grouper who will line 8 guests in a row, assigning them a specific row. When your train enters the station, you proceed towards the load platform in a single file line, loading front to back. However, if you want a specific row, the crew working Wonder Woman is usually happy to accommodate any requests. And for Wonder Woman, I strongly recommend the back row. While the visual of the shockingly thin track is neat up front, the power of the ride's drops in the back row needs to be experienced. Along with its subpar capacity, Wonder Woman's train design is also not the best. The train hugs the single rail track, so you need to sit spread eagle. It's weird to have to sit so widely on a coaster. In fact, it's sort of awkward. And then you have the restraints, which are ratcheting over the shoulder restraints. The bar that rests across your lap is fine, but the straps can be unforgiving on your collarbone, especially considering the insane airtime this ride delivers. While they don't cause me pain, they do cause discomfort at points on the ride. Once secured, Wonder Woman ascends the lift hill, bringing riders level at the top of the quarry wall. At the top, riders round a 180-degree turn, but this turn dips down and up. It was an interesting design choice from R.M.C. While it does offer some laterals, and it sort of throws you up into the first drop, it does create a potentially high valley point. And interestingly, on Silverwood's stunt pilot, this dip was replaced by a flat turn, so R.M.C. may have realized a potential issue if a sudden gust of wind hit the train at just the right angle. But the extra little oomph you get into Wonder Woman's drop is incredible. Front row riders get a tiny pop of airtime into this drop, while those in the back row are violently whipped over the 100-foot or 30.5-meter tall drop. And this is easily one of the best drops in the world. The vertical plunge delivers some of the most powerful and sustained ejector airtime of any coaster. The whip and power of the airtime is comparable to that of El Toro's first drop. Although the funny part about Wonder Woman's first drop is that it's not even the best drop in the park. But that's because Iron Rattler has the best drop on any coaster. That S-bend first drop over the quarry wall is breathtaking. But back to Wonder Woman. The pullout from the first drop is extremely tight, so it pummels riders with positive Gs. That is followed by one of the best inversions on any coaster, the dive loop. Unlike most dive loops that start to invert as you ascend up the element, Wonder Woman's dive loop doesn't invert riders until you reach the apex of the element. This has two advantages. First, you get some insane and sustained ejector airtime as you crest the element up front and as you're pulled towards the ground in the back. Second, you are abruptly twisted towards the ground, getting some intense laterals. Getting sustained ejector airtime with vicious laterals is a combo that you rarely find. This element is an absolute blur, and it caught me off guard in the best way possible the first time I rode Wonder Woman. I didn't realize a dive loop could deliver forces like that. And interestingly, Stunt Pilot's dive loop was reprofiled to start inverting sooner, so it'll be interesting to see if it rides anywhere close to the one on Wonder Woman. The pullout from the dive loop delivers another strong dose of positive Gs, and that's followed by a ridiculous S-hill. If you watch this element off-ride, the train whips over this hill comically fast, and it's every bit as insane on-ride. I mentioned it's rare getting otherworldly ejector airtime and lateral simultaneously with the dive loop, and Wonder Woman does it all over again on this S-hill that immediately follows. This hill tosses your body like a ragdoll, both towards the sky and then to the side. And you also have this frightening head chopper with a lift hill at the same time. Wonder Woman then rockets through this twisted turnaround. The tight spiraling ascent causes me to start graying out on most rides, particularly if I'm up front. Wonder Woman then hurdles over another steep and sizable drop. Up front, you get a tiny pop of airtime in this element because you're going over it so fast. But if you're in the back, you get another insane moment of ejector airtime. This is even crazier because the drop features not one, but two different head choppers with the S-Hills track and supports. And you really feel like you'll strike them because of how forcefully you lift it out of your seat. To this point, Wonder Woman is one of the most relentless coasters in the world. The coaster has absolutely hauled through the first half, giving riders zero opportunities to catch their breath. At this point, Wonder Woman does let its foot off the gas, only slightly though. The cutback is just okay. You get whipped through it, but it offers no hang time or positive Gs. It just sort of feels like a glorified overbank turn, and it just transitions you to the next part of the ride. The next inversion is better though. It is listed as a corkscrew, but it rides more like a 0G roll. It offers some decent hang time throughout the element. Then comes a very snappy and intense turn. This turn pulls some strong Gs, and honestly, I prefer it to the cutback for that reason. Then you sharply jump up into the brake run, giving all riders one last abrupt pop of airtime before slowing down for the first time all ride. While Wonder Woman's top speed is just 52 miles per hour, or 84 kilometers per hour, the ride feels significantly faster. The compactness of the elements, combined with the bevy of near misses and the open trains, really accentuates this coaster's sense of speed. It also helps that you have really no downtime in between elements. Wonder Woman is a front-loaded ride as the ride shoves its most intense elements in the first half, but the second half's elements are still ultimately good. Last but not least, Wonder Woman is a very smooth coaster. You can feel the occasional bump on a track joint here and there, but the ride is about as smooth today as it was opening weekend. I could ride this coaster all day, both from a smoothness and excitement perspective. Really, the only thing stopping me from riding this ride all day is the abysmal capacity and the fact that I prefer Iron Rattler on the other side of the park. So what would I rate Wonder Woman? I would give this prototype Raptor a 9.5 out of 10. This is one of the smoothest and most intense coasters in the world. The ride subjects your body to forces that few rides can match. The ejector airtime alone is top notch, but when paired with some strong laterals and positive Gs, Wonder Woman is a tour de forces. My issues with Wonder Woman as a ride are mostly nitpicks. The awkward restraints are a bit uncomfortable, but they don't ruin the ride for me. And I wish Wonder Woman maintained the same intensity in the second half, but ultimately this is an elite coaster, and I look forward to riding R.M.C's bigger and better Raptors. Really, the only major issue with this ride is the aforementioned capacity when it's at a large park like Fiesta Texas. So those are my thoughts on Wonder Woman Golden Lasso Coaster, the exciting single rail coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. Have you been on this coaster? Or have you been on any of the other R.M.C. Raptors out there? I would love to hear your thoughts on this ride down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.